It's amazing we're here at this moment because the change is happening so fast.
Oh my God, there really hasn't been a time like this ever. And I can't give all the reasons why, but it has to do with the level that humans have of access to the divine. There are things that have opened up within our energy field that allow more and more light to come in. And it's all about light. Ein Sof R, light, limitless light. Because everything you see around you is light that is solidified into material things. So, in the far, 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 far distant future, this earth will become a star. Oh, I mean, millions and millions. I have no idea. But that is happening within the consciousness of human beings now. And that's what's cool. We are allowing more and more and more light into us because we have lived thousands of lifetimes. And we are returning to that source, at least in consciousness.
You can really feel that change happening. And I love the way we discuss it in the words you bring up because it always feels positive and exciting, and it takes the fear of the unknown out of it.
Well, we get scared because of the physical world too. We are seeing now, and we will see huge changes in governments. You will see some of the governments of the world do 180 turn. Things will come out of the woodwork and we'll think, oh my God, it's over. No, it's just changing. It's changing to a new form. And there are some very, very wonderful, capable leaders who are already in position and some who you don't know about that are coming up. This is the evolution of consciousness as it manifests in the governments of the world. Now, that's very Sagittarian, that's very the governments, the rules, the laws. A lot of the laws and rules don't work anymore. We're not made anymore to have the pyramid type ruling to when there's one person at the top and they rule everybody below them and you can just be unconscious. That doesn't work anymore. Look what's happening in a lot of countries. We, the people all over the world, are saying, no, no, we have an opinion. Are they right? Not always. Sometimes they're flat ass wrong, doing the right thing for the wrong reason or the wrong thing for the right reason. You be the judge. But just watch at these changes, but don't worry about it. That is really beyond what you are doing. Your daily life is what you can focus on. By you living your life on a daily basis and you are spiritualizing your life by bringing in light to your consciousness. And you're going to have to grieve a lot of this. Grief is part of it. It's when we're letting go. When a pet dies, when a person dies, that we grieve, but we also grieve during the day when we realize I've been through that lately. Some of the things I've been doing don't work anymore. It makes me mad. So I get all icky about it. Then I have to grieve it. Then I'll eventually let it go. But what I'm learning to say more is what a wonderful opportunity. Let's see what develops. Let's see what comes. So, yes, expect huge transitions in government.
Will some of that look like different collaborations and governments working together in different ways than they have?
Oh, absolutely. That's why the change is happening because they're going to be less isolated. The days of isolation are done. I mean, look at England. England is really not part of Europe, the UK. That's where all my genetics from. I'm totally Scottish, British, Irish. Well, I've got Swedish too. But that's it. The 100% of me is right there. But it's really not part of Europe. So what is part of Europe? What is Europe? Look at the continent of Australia, the continent of Africa, United States and Canada. The communications that are happening. When you communicate with people you've never communicated with, what happens? Stress, arguments. It can be comforting, but it will tell you, wait a minute, not everything you know is real. And some other people have some good ideas too. It's going to get better because we do have some great leaders in this world, and we're seeing them now. But you will also see the old ways go. And that is what we are grieving, is the loss of the familiar. But it's got to go.
It's almost as though once we accept that peace of mind comes from within, we can also accept that a lot of the things we see and know about are going to change.
Yeah, and it's easier said than done. I mean, it's really hard. Who isn't concerned about what's going on with their government? Who isn't concerned? In this country, United States, how is it that somebody joins Congress and within 2 years you're a multimillionaire? I thought you were a servant. My thing is, I think if you're going to be a senator or a congressperson, you guys all have to live in a dormitory and you don't get paid. You get food, shelter, and clothing, but you are a servant of the people. Now, that's not going to happen, but that's just my idiosyncrasy that I've got, as a libertarian. I'd like liberty. I believe in that.
Wonderful. I think that would really solve a lot of our problems. They have meditation circles together until they figure out their differences.
Yeah, everybody needs to know the words to Kumbaya. I mean, and that does happen occasionally, but right now things are on fire. It is hot. Oh my God, there's so much love coming into this planet from the higher realms. And remember that love is what? Electricity. It is fire. And it's firing stuff up. Oh my God. But here is what the feminine, divine feminine does. It's the balm of Gilead. It calms, it nurtures. It's the earth and the waters. And it says, just take a deep breath. Just chill a minute. And that is what we come in and out of. But we have so much to look forward to. We have such a brilliant future. Brilliant, brilliant future. So the fact that we are in pretty weird times, the 2020s, that's a bunch of twos. It's mean, guess what? You're going to get along with other people. So some people say, the prognosticators, that by 2000, the 2030s, that's going to be more. We've kind of figured a lot out, and the world's going to look very different. I believe that because it's starting to look different now. But the main thing, y'all, is you've got to attend first to your daily life. What can you do to add that panacea to your daily life? What restrictions have you put on yourself? You might need to loosen up a bit. Or places where you're doing too much of the loosey goosey, you might need to pull back in. It's a balance. It's a consistent balance that doesn't stick around, and we want it to. But what's coming is a world to where it is more balanced. There will be drama and trauma and this and that, but the ways of dealing with it will be kinder. So we can do that now. We can start in our daily life and pick one thing. Start with one thing. Oh God, if I could do everything I suggest to myself, I'd probably ascend, but that ain't going to happen. So my method is to keep pulling myself back and into my awareness because as a psychic medium, I go out of my body so much. I'm just out there. So that technique works for me. But when I met that little lady in the good food store with her daughter, it was like talking to myself. She really was in her energy field. And the message to God from God to me with that was, Zoli, pay attention. This is what's coming. There's a whole population of women, and I mainly talk to with and for women. There's a whole population of women who just haven't felt like they belong. But you do belong to each other. You don't have to fit into all the externals because maybe that's none of your business. So we don't have to fix everything. We don't have to be everything, to do everything, but we have to find more calming within ourselves and to say, there by the grace of God go I, and connect me with others like myself, even if it's just for like that 5 minutes I had with that gal.
That's great advice for women, especially that aren't around like-minded others, or they feel alone, like they don't belong, and they're not sure how to get started. It's not a threatening way of going about it.
Well, life itself is so threatening, it's just ridiculous. I mean, we come here to be hit with all the externals, the emotionals, the external stimuli, the internal stuff. We're all in the DSM 5. We're all in there somewhere. You know, we're all on the edge of something all the time. And it's because we are everything. We really are as human beings. We share so much. The thing is, when we don't like parts of ourselves, we don't want other people to see it. And that's just human nature. You have the right to privacy. Oh, for sure, you do. But what's happening is a kinder, gentler understanding of there by the grace of God go I. You don't have to get all, too much information and sharing this and sharing that. I'll walk away from a lot of that. I just can't do it. I empath on people. Can't do it. So I have had to learn to give information instead of physical time. And women, we can overdo it with that.
Yeah, we have a tendency into the being a helpaholic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're going to do that series when I get around to it. It's coming about,
Yeah.
how we know we're helpaholics. Well, when you were born and doctor came in the waiting room and said, guess what? You've got a girl. In other words, he should have said, hi, you have a helpaholic.
Yeah.
It's women is what we nurture, but we tend to overdo it at times because a lot of times what we're giving and doing isn't talked about or we're not seeing the effect of it. We're not seeing the effect. So we tend to be helicopter this and that. And you know how it goes. I'm preaching the choir on that one.
Absolutely. And it's fun to approach it with humor because we can laugh at ourselves a little bit in hopes that we set boundaries.
Well, I certainly have a lot of material. I think when Mark and I were married, my first husband, great guy. We lived in Lubbock, Texas, and there was this story going around that was true. It was hysterical about a woman at an insurance agency. Her husband worked for the insurance agency, and they were at one of their dinners. That there's all you got like 40 people there, and you're all fed your rubber chicken and this and that, and everybody's talking, and she's talking away, and all of a sudden the people at the table stopped talking, and they were looking at her. She was cutting up the meat of the man next to her because she had 4 kids at home.
Oh,
Now, have we not all done something like that? Here, let me help you. Nobody asked for that. The poor gal, I hope she got out more after that. But it's, I mean, we can all kind of relate. It's funny. One thing I had to quit doing when I grew up back in the dark ages in Alabama, the 1950s, everybody that worked with us, we fed everybody. You did in the South. You fed everybody lunch. You had cold drinks for them, but you fed everybody. So, and when I worked at my farm that I had in Olympia, people worked there, I fed everybody. So Tom and I moved to Montana. We don't have a farm here, we have a ranch. It's way remote. You can find it by drone, I guess. But we'd have workers come, and he's like, "Why are you feeding everybody lunch?" I said, "Well, because it's what you do." And he's like, "No, it's not." You'd have thought I had been told that I don't know what it. I went through a withdrawal period of thinking, "Oh my God, these people are working here and they have to bring their own lunch." Zoli, how do you think people in construction ever survive without your help? So we
It's
go through. Yeah, we have to grieve the loss of time. It's not needed. It's just not needed. I used to throw when we first moved here before I knew it was illegal and unnecessary. For the first year, I'd put out food for the deer. Then I took my hunter safety course before I could shot a bear. I had to learn about that. But I'm like, oh my God, I don't have a farm. Why am I spending all this time out there feeding deer? These are wild animals. Plus, Zoli, Montana deer, all those plants at the nursery that say deer resistant, not for Montana deer. They eat everything. They eat suet. They eat everything. These are wild animals. And during the fall, their stomachs start changing over to where they nibble on trees, they eat grasses, they dig through the snow, this and that, and they do fine during the winter. If you feed them, deer eat 5 times a day. So I had to go through the withdrawal that first year of going, oh my God, I can't do this. I've been feeding farm animals for 30 years. Guess what, Zoli? Your habits have to change. Then what happened for the next 3 or 4 years? I'd be at the grocery store and it'd be 3 o'clock. I'm like, oh my God, I've got to go home and feed the cows. You don't have cows, Lily. So with the feeding everybody, that was it became a helpaholic thing, even though it was appropriate at my farm. At the time I did it, it was appropriate growing up with the people that worked at our house. So things change, and sometimes we don't let go of those things. That's happening now with major governments of the world. We've always done it like that. Well, guess what? It doesn't work anymore. Not only can you not do that anymore, but you will be hurting people. The resistance will blow you out of the water. You can't do it. So that's the times that we are in, you see. That's why I gave you yeah, the visible um, understanding of what I did. And this is how we are doing it if the governments now. We're having to let go of these things. And we don't know where we're going with it. I'm like, well, what am I going to do? Well, guess what? You're free. I'm free from that. I don't have to do that anymore. We've been here 14 years. It's great. I have a cat. She's inside the house. Feed the birds in the winter. That's it. But we will find also that once we move through this period, we're going to feel free. We're going to feel freer because there's going to be less stress and we will move through this. I promise you, I swear, it's insane. All the screaming and yelling and this and that, control yourself, people. When something happens and there are 80 people holding up their phone, that's not a weapon. What are you doing? You're holding up a phone. This is not a, you treat it like it's a weapon. It's not. So we're doing some crazy shit just because we see everybody else doing it. That has got to stop. But it's like Smokey the Bear used to say, only you can prevent forest fires. Well, I refuse to take a selfie. First of all, I scare the hell out of myself. Have that phone 2 inches from my face. At age 72, you don't be taking these selfies, especially at 8 in the morning. You just got up. You don't want you to break the glass. But this is what we've got to start within ourselves. And how do we do that? We see other people doing good behavior. And we think, how are they getting away with that? How are they not doing what the lemmings are doing? The masses. Well, they do it. Well, I can do it. And that's what's happening. That's what you're going to see more and more. That's why you can have a respondability. You can respond by saying, I ain't doing that. I'm just not doing it. Well, if you don't, you won't belong. Well, who cares? I don't want to belong to that. That's scary. You do that with kids, it scares the hell out of them because you're living in this little commune situation with your besties. So it's hard as adult. It's hard to be an adult. And I'm having to do that with some things lately, and it's really pissing me off.
It can be so frustrating, but worthwhile once you see it through.
Well, we don't have a choice. We really don't have a choice to do that. We get into our comfort cycles, and all of a sudden, what's comforting is hurting us. We go, my God, I can't do that anymore. Well, then we go through the self pity and the grieving and this and that, and we will hopefully eventually quit that behavior and something new will come. But we have to go through an empty period. Right now, we're seeing the coffers emptying out, we're seeing the comfort emptying out. And it's unfamiliar and it's scary, but by God, we can do this and we're going to do it because you came here to be strong. You came here to have courage so that you can be the one standing alone in the crowd, not doing what everybody else is doing.
That is the reminder we need to hear. Thank you.
Well, I need to hear it too. I need to hear this stuff. We're all insane. We're just nuts, all of us. We really are. We do this stuff, and then 50 years in the future, we look back at this and go, can you believe they did that?
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Well, as we talk about it and we collaborate, hopefully we move on to better choices.
Well, we will. And to lighten things up, to have a little sense of humor with it and know that light is love and that you have that within you and it's never extinguished. You can be your beloved. And you can demonstrate that to other people just by being. Just be you. Just chill and just be yourself. And you can help other people that way.
Oh, beautiful. Let's all try to do that.
I'm going to try that. We'll see what happens. If I explode somewhere south of Missoula, I'll let you know, but I'm going to try.